right. I'd like to start off by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Hashem Yahushai, Hashem Kamadash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is The Economy is Dictating Hard Times to Come. This is a title that came to me last night after watching several videos dealing with the economy, and mainly not just the economy as far as, the so-called United States of the world, but also dealing with individuals' ability to pay their bills, to keep food on the table, and having a steady flow of income coming in. There are millions of Americans. We just use America since we live in America, so-called America. We have millions of Americans today that are jobless. They're depending on these different stimulus checks. They're depending on unemployment checks. Some of them are depending on welfare, different grants and different things that are coming from the government, and at the end of the day, Esau slowly but surely cutting everything down. He's making life a lot difficult for people. Yes. I think if you go right by this fence here, I think there's a little trail that goes out there. Yeah, it's a dirt. Hey, how you doing, man? It's like a little dirt road. You see, though, just be careful because it's a little muddy sometimes. Yeah. So just keep an eye, but you should have like a little dock to get out there. All right, thank you. No problem. All right, so they're making things hard economically for people. And what you see happening is pretty much there is a trying to word it into words. There's a push for total dependency, on the government. So like my thoughts are a little scattered right now. So there's a push for total dependency on the government, because that's pretty much what's going to happen. That these people that are dependent on the government, they're going to be led and pushed towards the mark of the beast, because everything you see is all pushing towards the mark of the beast. The final goal of the agenda of Esau is the mark of the beast, because that will cement for them the total subservience of the populace, which they call cattle or goyim, which the word goyim really means nation. The goyim means nation, but somehow they put cattle in there, which the word for cattle is really alap or alapyum, but somehow they put in that it's cattle, but that's what it is, because once people are chipped, they're easier to keep track of, and they won't be able to do any type of transaction, unless they use that device. And if you don't comply with the mandates, what do? They shut off your chip. And that's what Aaron Russo said that Nick Rockefeller told him in that interview. This is a book of Revelation 13 and 16. And he calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead. And we're living in an age that we now understand what that mark is. And when you go back into the original language which is in this case the Greek, you find out that that word for mark is the word charagma or charagma, however you pronounce it, and we find out that it's something that's implanted. And when you go to the different root words, it gives you more information that shows beyond a shadow of a doubt that the mark of the beast is the microchip. And unless these individuals out here, like Bishop Nate, Bishop Nathaniel, or General Yohana, unless they've been paid off, I don't see what the big deal is in researching that and coming to that conclusion if the Spirit is with you. Because one thing we were taught at One West, which we're taught now, is to research. Look up words, look into the Hebrew, look into the Greek. Do your research. That was always something that was pushed. There was never a time in One West where it was just accept this, or else. It got to that at a certain point, but the members were always encouraged to go and research things out. So, individuals that have done research, because Bishop Nathaniel was known as a man of the scriptures. He was known as a man that went into the Hebrew, So with the application of what he learned in the past, he would have been able to put it together if the Spirit was with him to see that this is the mark of the beast. The microchip is the mark of the beast. Unless he sold out, which we're under that impression that he sold excuse me, that he sold out. Because no one is going to fight so valiantly against something unless they have an ulterior motive, especially when it comes to the name of Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. That is very suspect, very suspicious, So when you look up that terminology or that word mark in the Greek, not in the English, because in the English, and that's another thing, they have a problem with us going into different languages. When the Bible was written in a different language than what we have today, it was translated. It's been translated into different languages because you have Israelites that are scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. But the original language that the Bible was written in was not English. And English has a way of taking the definition of particular words, or taking the definition of particular words in another language and lumping them all into one word in English, like the word world and the word mark. You have different words for mark, just like you have different words for world. When the IUIC breaks down John 3:16, for God so loved the world, how do they explain that? How can they explain that world is speaking about the nation of Israel if you don't go back into the origins of the word? Because there are many different definitions for the word world. And when you go to the Greek word, it gives you a proper definition of that word. So there's got to be something more than just, them fighting against it because they don't see it. Because we were always encouraged to go back and to do the research. Go into Greek words, go into the Hebrew words, go into the definition of words. To go into certain commentaries or go into the Josephus and look certain things up. And if it doesn't jive with what the scriptures are saying, then you would discard it. But then if it did jive with the scriptures, then you would use it as another source or way to be able to paint a picture of what the scriptures are saying. This is Ecclesiasticus, the prologue of Ecclesiasticus. And it says, just bear with me one real quick. It says, it says to write something pertaining to learning and wisdom, to the intent that those which are desirous to learn and are addicted to these things might profit much more in living according to the law. Wherefore, let me entreat you to read it with favor and attention. So what is favor and attention that it has to be read with? You have to be able to go back into the original language to get a better understanding. the English translation that we have is it gives us the meaning, but if we want something broader, a broader picture, a broader understanding, we got to go back to the language. It says, wherefore let me entreat you to read it with favor and attention, and to pardon us wherein we may seem to come short of some words, which we have labored to interpret, for the same things uttered in Hebrew and translated into another tongue have not the same force in them. So if they don't have the same force in them, in that particular language that it was translated, what are we to do? We're encouraged to go back into the original language that it was written in this case Hebrew or Greek, to be able to get a better understanding or a little more clarification on what is being said. It says, for the same things uttered in Hebrew and translated into another tongue have not the same force in them. And not only these things, but the law itself and the prophets and the rest of the books have no small difference when they are spoken in their own language. See? So what does that mean? That means that the strongest power of a message comes in the language that it was written in. For example, when in Spanish, you'll say a joke in Spanish, and in Spanish it may rhyme, which makes it funnier. But when you translate it into English or into another language, it doesn't have the same punchline. It doesn't have the same effect because it's not spoken in the language that it was said in or spoken in. You see? That's the same thing with the Hebrew and the Greek. So going back to Revelation 13 and 17, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark of or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So pretty much we're seeing that this mark has everything to do with buying and selling. And in this society, everything is tied to buying and selling. That's why one of the root words of the word mark or charagma goes back to the word grapho, which means records or the writings, to keep record of, because the records that each individual has determines what benefits they can or cannot receive. You know, because your medical records, that determines, all right, you go to such and such doctor, or you go to such and such physician, or you go to such and such this, that, or the other, you know? And depending on if you have insurance or not, you have to pay such and such to this individual. So everything ties back to finances. If you need medicine or medication, you shouldn't be taking it. But if you have to take it, you know, take it, you know, but there's always something else that can be used, you know, in replacement of that, you know. But the point is that medication, you have to do what? You have to buy it. Unless you have an insurance and that insurance pays for it. But some people have a premium on their insurance that they have to pay. You know, so everything ties back to finances. Your driver's license, you know, your driving record, your driving history. Everything ties back to what? Finances, because you have to renew, you have to pay if there's an infraction, so on and so forth. You know, groceries, rent, you know, mortgage, whatever, car note, groceries, whatever, you know, like I already said, groceries. The point is that everything in this society is tied back to buying and selling. It ties back to money. And this is why this understanding what the mark of the beast is so important, because it says that no man may buy or sell. And it doesn't say nations or rich nations or poor nations, you know, or countries. No, it's speaking about no man may buy or sell, whether they're rich or poor. Whether you're well-to-do or whether you're homeless or whether you're just barely scraping by, everyone has to partake in the purchasing of this society if they want to get any of the goods from Esau. Because remember, now let's go back to the law. Let's go back to the law before we read on. Deuteronomy 28 and 48. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemy, which the Lord shall send against thee. So the Lord sent these devils against us. In hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things. So if we want anything in this society, we got to go to our enemy for it. And our enemy has set up what? He set up a financial or an economic basis and a form of trade that we have to use to be able to trade, to be able to buy, to be able to sell. And all of that is leading towards what? Towards the mark of the beast, which is the microchip. Why do you think so many big, like they're destroying all the mom and pop businesses? They're all going under because they can't afford to keep going the way things are going. So they're forced to get into other forms of making money. But what's left is what? The big corporations. And what are these big corporations doing? They still have self-checkout. But now when you go to most of these self-checkouts, you can't use cash anymore. Oh, there's a coin shortage. Which these bubbleheads, man, these goddamn bubbleheads, these meat puppets, man. Anything that the motherfucking TV says, they just fucking repeat it. Oh, there's a coin shortage. What does that mean? Well, that means that there's a coin shortage. And shut the fuck up, man. They have a fucking printing press where they do that. Where they print coins and all that. There ain't no fucking coin shortage. They're just saying that because they're making it to where using cash is gonna be obsolete. You fucking meat puppets. You get mad. You ready to flip out on people at these fucking places when you go. You know, but you know we contain ourselves because we know that they're nothing but meat puppets. They're blockheads, you know. And the thing about it, it's one thing to be ignorant. All right, cool. The Lord said at the time of our ignorance, He winked at. But if you try to explain something to somebody and they're gonna sit there and their stupid, inflated, Edomite wisdom, and they're not gonna accept what you tell them. They're gonna try to give you the explanation that these devils give them. And that's why I see more and more every day as each day goes by, the Most High is increasing our hate for these people out here. You know, He's increasing our hate for these people out here because when the time comes and the Lord starts taking these people out, the Lord wants us to be in an apathetic spirit that have no feeling for these people. Because these people are nothing but a bunch of fucking meat puppets, man. And you get sick and tired of hearing the bullshit, you know, over and over again. That whatever the fucking government says, these motherfuckers just fucking repeat. Hey, the scripture says, surely oppression maketh the wise man mad. And that shit is oppressive, man. These fucking assholes, they fucking laughing at you, man. These devils are fucking laughing at you. These international bankers are sitting back in their bunkers laughing at these stupid ass people wearing these stupid ass masks, repeating these stupid ass things that they're hearing on the fucking news, man. You people deserve what you fucking get. So let's go back to Revelation 13 and 17. It says, and that no man might buy or sell save he. So at the end of the day, it boils down to economics. It boils down to finances. And right now, with millions of people being unemployed and millions of people depending on these stimulus checks and these unemployment checks, fucking pedophile. You know, better watch your children. You know? And they're talking about cutting all that shit down. What do you think is going to happen? Eventually, they're going to push the microchip. They're going to push a way for these people to be able to get these benefits if they comply to the government's mandate, which is moving in what direction? In a cashless direction, which means eventually they're going to push the microchip. And what do you think these people are going to do when they have nothing? They're going to comply. They're going to bow to the will of the government, just like they bow to the will, and just like they frame out of their mouth, you know, that the reason why, you know, they're not accepting cash is because there's a coin shortage. You fucking meathead, man. You fucking meat puppets, man. Ooh, man, these motherfuckers make you so fucking mad, man. Fucking meat puppets, man. You know? Hey, if we weren't spiritual men, man, sometimes you just want to flip in the air and just backspin and kick somebody right in the fucking face, man. I'm serious. You know, but we being spiritual men, we know that the scriptures say a carnal mind is enmity with the Most High. So we contain ourselves, man. But you do, man. You just want to do some Bruce Lee shit, even if you're out of shape and off. You know, you might fuck around and pull something if you even turn the wrong way. You know, man. So, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So all of these financial woes, you know, the shortage of jobs, because you're talking about millions and millions of people out of work. And you have these food drives or these food places where people get food. I forget exactly what they call them. But those things, in some places, the fucking lines are miles long. And these places don't have enough food to give these people. And now they're talking about a shortage of certain metals that they can't make canned goods. They can't make any more cans to put the goods in. And what about all the acres and acres and acres of food that farmers have to throw out, of cattle that they have to discard? Because the government is not allowing them to ship these things. Man, shit is going to get hard, man. You people that's been playing around, playing games, shit is going to get hard out here, man. It's going to get real. It's about fucking time that the Lord open up on you fucking people, man, so you can learn some respect for the Most High. Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Let's go to Daniel. Chapter 12 and 1. And at that time shall Michael stand up. And there's a reason why the angels are going to have to stand up. Just like the video I was watching with the Elder Apostle Gabar just did with that woman that was trapped for 27 hours, you know, in one of the buildings at the World Trade Center. And she kept praying, and the angel was there holding her hand. You know? So there's a reason why the angels are going to have to stand up in these times. Because shit is going to get real out here. It's going to get hard. And unless the Lord has some type of divine intervention, we're all finished. Scripture says there'd be no flesh left to be saved. But the scripture says for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. So that means that the Lord is going to make a way for his angels to protect us, man. Somehow, some way. We don't know how, but it's going to happen. Just like the Lord protected the 3 children in the furnace. Just like the Lord protected Daniel in the lion's den. Just like the Lord protected many of his men. Jeremiah that was sinking in that mire. And delivered Peter from being put to death at that time. When James was beheaded. And many other different times when the Lord delivered the men of the Lord from certain peril, certain danger. So there's got to be some type of divine intervention to deliver us. And there will be. So it says, and at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people. Because the Michael, Yahweh Shai, Michael, the angels, and all the host of heaven are ministers to the Israelites, the people of the Lord, not any other nation. They're ministers unto the Israelites, and especially they're ministers unto the elect. Hebrews 1 and 13. But to which of the angels said he at any time, sit thou at my right hand until I make thine enemies thy footstool? Speaking about the angels, right? And the one that the Lord said to sit on my right hand is Yahweh Shai. It says, are they not all ministering spirits? Who? The angels. What does it mean by ministering spirits? They're servants. It says, sent forth to minister for them who shall be heirs of salvation. So they're ministers or servants. Even the angel told John not to bow down to him because he was a servant and a fellow brother. So their job is to protect the elect. He gives his angels charge over thee, lest thou dash thy foot against a stone. So the economy is dictating hard times to come. And this is going to usher in homelessness, joblessness, famine, you know, hard times, perilous times. That's what's coming. And that's why you have these big businesses, these big corporations operating through the so-called pandemic, through the so-called lockdown, while all the mom and pop stores were closed, to destroy their economy because they're not able to withstand that. Now you were able to use cash. Now in certain terminals, or especially on the self-checkout, no more you can't use cash anymore. You got to go through the cashiers, and after and some places where you go, you have to have exact change. Why? Because it's shortage of coins. Shut the fuck up, man. I'm sick of you fucking people, man. So it says, are they not all ministering spirits sent forth to minister for them who shall be heirs of salvation? That's what the Lord said, pray not for this people. The Lord is going to put a cold spirit on us, man. Because right now, we have that compassion. We have that compassion to where we feel sorry for people. We are not built like that right now because of our flesh. But the time is coming where the Lord is going to put a cold spirit on us, man. And we're not going to give a fuck about nobody except for the brothers, except for the people that the Lord, the elect. That's it. It's going to be a cold deal out here, man. It's going to be a cold fucking deal out here. It's going to get raw, man. It's going to get fucking raw. It's going to be so many deaths. And then eventually, when the destruction comes, that's what the Lord said is going to be weeping and gnashing of teeth. But there's going to be howling in these streets, man. There's going to be cries and howling in these streets. And right now, as we speak, over there in Russia, they're talking about pushing their vaccine on the Russians by October. Because they've done little trials here and there, which is not according to I didn't even read the what you call it. I just read the title. But without research, without sufficient research, they're going to push that. And then another thing is that movie I Am Legend. Well, there's one article that came out that said that this one person was really bad with the coronavirus, and they hit him with this one injection, this vaccine, and he's recovering fast. Which reminds me of I Am Legend, where the woman Alice Crippen said that they found the cure for cancer, and all the people they treated were cured of cancer. But guess what? Not too long after that, the people turned into something else. They turned into zombies. Because they could do something in a vaccine where they could have something in it that could cure a person of whatever they have. But then they have the technology to do time releases. You have certain not medication. You have certain vitamins that we used to take back in the days. Half of the vitamin was vegetables, the other half was fruits. But the capsule was time released. So let's say the vegetables were broken down first. Then the fruits would remain intact until the digestive process of the vegetables, then that would break up, and then the vegetables the fruit would go through, so the body could digest both the fruits and the vegetables, with enough time. So they could do that. If they have the technology to make a pill like that, don't you think they have the technology to put that in the vaccine? So back to Daniel 12:1. At that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince will stand up for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. So this time of trouble that's coming is going to be very harsh. It's going to be very hard. That's what the name of the lesson is. The economy is dictating hard times to come. And then you have, they're starting a process now where millions of people are being evicted. because they can't pay their rent. And they weren't able to pay their rent starting back from March. So they kept putting it off because they couldn't pay. But now they're calling the debts in. And there's going to be millions of people that's going to be homeless. But those millions of people that will be homeless, there could be a program set up by the government to, if you take such and such or do this or do that, you can, get under the housing of the government. And everything what's happening is they're making the path narrower and narrower, going towards the one world government, one world order, leading to that microchip, which is the mark of the beast. It says, and at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book, meaning the elect are going to be delivered in these times. Because the times that are coming are going to be very hard. There's a reason why the scriptures speak about uproars of the people. What do you think will make people get into an uproar? A financial situation. Let's go real quick to 2 Ezra 9:1. He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee. He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. And we're seeing the Lord visiting the world which he made. He said he will visit with thunder and with storms and with fire and with tempests. He's also visiting with his prophecies, which some more of his prophecies are what? Famine, uproars of the people, wars, rumors of wars, and everything else that's happening throughout the world. It says, therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, which you've seen that, and we've been seeing that, then shalt thou well understand, that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning, because the end of the world has been spoken of from the beginning of the world. And now we're at the very end of that cycle. For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest, and you see that. You have the beginning of a race, you have the end of a race. You have the beginning of a movie, you have the ending of a movie. It says, even so the times also of the highest have plain beginnings in wonders and powerful works, and ending in effects and signs. And we're witnessing the effects and the signs of these things. That's why the economy is dictating hard times to come, because the thing that people cannot deal with, they can deal with, suffering, certain things. They can deal with, losing a loved one, it's hard. They could deal with losing a job and having to get another one. They could deal with losing their home, having to get another one. They could deal with losing their car. They could deal with losing many things. But one thing they can't deal with is not being able to eat. And once, these devils stop pushing that money for these people to get, then it's going to be a wrap. Most people don't want to go back to work, but guess what? Most people don't have a job to go back to. They're loving, the freedom of not going to work and getting more money than they did when they were working. But slowly but surely, the devil is cutting that off. It says, and every one that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works and by faith whereby you have believed, shall be preserved from the said perils, and shall see my salvation in my land and within my borders, for I have sanctified them from the beginning. It says, then shall they be in pitiful case, which now have abused my ways. Yeah, because while they had opportunity, they didn't listen. And that woman that Elder Apostle Gabar was speaking about, if the truth is presented to her and she rejects it, guess what? The angel preserved her for the destruction. The angel preserved her for another event that's going to destroy her. See? Because at the end of the day, all knees are going to bow to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. And the people that are out there that are going to be delivered have to receive the message. Because the message is where the deliverance comes from. It says, and they that have cast them away despitefully shall dwell in torments. For such as in their life have received benefits and have not known me. And they that have loathed my law while they had yet liberty, and when yet place of repentance was open unto them, understood not, but despised it. And you have a lot of Israelites out there that despise this word. You have people walking up and down in Harlem right now that are in their 60s, 70s, 80s, that have heard the men of the Lord speaking out there for years, you know, and rejected the word. Guess what? They're ticking time bombs. Because when all hell breaks loose, they're going to be judged. Because they happen to be in the midst of all of that, and they rejected it. It says, the same must know it after death by pain. Why? Because reincarnation is real. And those that rejected it back then are rejecting it now. That's why if you're trying to talk to somebody and you see they ain't getting it, or they're getting uncomfortable and they like looking at you like they want to slap you or whatever, yo, forget about them. Because they're not getting it because the Lord is not opening up their mind, because he didn't open up their mind back then. In order to get this word, the Lord has to open up our minds. As therefore, and therefore be thou not curious how the ungodly shall be punished, and when, but inquire how the righteous shall be saved, whose the world is, for whom the world is created. And that's what we're waiting for the salvation of the elect of the nation of Israel, which are the righteous. And that's what we're concerned with. We're concerned with the elect. I remember years ago, Apostle Tahar was speaking down at Wall Street. And, while he was speaking, he said this. He said, when the time comes, I'm only for the righteous. And that was very profound. When he said that, I was like, wow, that was heavy, because it's the truth. Because the Lord is only dealing with the elect. Which the elect would be righteous, right? Because the Most High made them righteous. There's a predestination. There's a reason why those elect will be saved. Because they were sealed from the foundation of the world. And this word is what's sealing them. That's why in Ezekiel the 9th chapter, when he speaks about the mark. Now in Ezekiel the 9th chapter, that word mark is different from the mark in the book of Revelation 13, 16 and 17. Now the word mark in Ezekiel 9 and 4 is the word thawah, which means exemption from judgment. To be exempted from the judgment that's coming. So there's something within that individual that is sealing them from any harm, from destruction. And this word plays a major event in that. Let me just get two precepts so I don't forget. Just bear with me 1 second. Second Ezra chapter 16. Then shall they be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as the gold in the fire. Hear, O ye my beloved, saith the Lord, behold, the days of trouble are at hand, but I will deliver you from the same. And why? Because they are sealed. And what are they sealed with? That thawah, that mark. What is that mark? This word. The word of salvation, the word of everlasting life, as the Apostle Peter said. Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me. Did you find it? All right, cool. No problem. I was a little worried. I wanted to make sure you found it. All right. Take care. This is the book of James 1:21. Wherefore lay apart all filthiness and superfluity of naughtiness, and receive with meekness the engrafted word which is able to save your soul. So this word is what gives you the mark. You know, there's one more that came to mind. Beautiful. Romans chapter 10. So that woman that was delivered by the angel from that rubble, from that horrible situation, if she doesn't come to the truth, then there could be something else that's going to destroy her. You know, remember the Lord said there were 4 kinds appointed. He that escapeth the dog shall the famine get. He that escaped the famine shall the sword get. He that escaped the sword shall the captivity get. You see? So she could have been delivered from that because it wasn't her time, because she's going to be destroyed in another time unless she hears the truth, understands the truth, and the Lord delivers her. You know, if she be part of the elect. And if she be a part of the elect, she will get it. Romans 10:10. For with the heart man believeth unto righteousness, and with the mouth confession is made unto salvation. So it's a thing of believing and confessing. That's what the scriptures speak about, the unbelieving wife being able to save the believing wife being able to save the unbelieving husband. That they may be brought in by the holy conversation of the woman. Because she believed, she told her husband, and in her belief and telling her husband, and he seeing the manner in how she conducts herself, you know, and the changes that she's made, and how she's a different woman, you know, how she's more, you know, on point, so to speak, for lack of better words, that's going to cause him to be intrigued, like, damn, you know, she wasn't like this before. There must be something about what she's into, and he might be intrigued to look into it. And by that, he could learn, understand, believe, and he could be saved too. You know? So it's about belief and then confession. You know? Yeah, so like I said, the name of the title is The Economy is Dictating Hard Times. The only ones that's going to be protected are the elect, man. And these hard times are coming. You know, this jobless situation, you know, this eviction situation, you know, and everything that's happening, people suffering hunger, it's going to get really, really bad out here, you know, and damn, I should have told them about this other place down there they could have went to. It's going to get really, really bad. I was thinking out loud. It's going to get really, really bad out here for these people, man, you know, but the elect are going to be straight. That's why I said, then shall be known who are my chosen. So with that, you know, I pray that you brothers have been edified. To the next time I say shalom. Salaki, I didn't get a chance to look at the comments. It's a little bright out here. So it's kind of hard to read some of the comments when it's kind of bright out here. But the water to you brothers, shalom. To the sincere, you know, the elders and the brothers out there that's watching, you know, Hardy, Yahweh, Bashem, El Shai, Brakathum. Shalom to the sisters, the believing sisters. And I pray that you brothers have been edified. Until the next time I say shalom.